Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. We're going to take a look at some crowdfunding projects for war games. I did sports, well I did one sports game over the weekend, and I wanted to follow it up with some interesting war game campaigns, of which there are more. I have, I think, 8 to look at, all of which are ending within the next 4 weeks or so, some of them less than that, significantly so, such as this first one we're seeing right here. I'm going to get right into it. This is Okinawa, the last battle of World War II. It is the solo game of the month. It is from Gabe Barrett. It is a card game, as you can probably tell here. There is a video, so I would recommend checking out the video if you are interested in more information on this game. As you can see, it's got over 1,100 backers, but there are only 3 days left to back this. So what is it? Let's take a quick look. It's only 24 bucks to back it. And you're on the island of Okinawa. This is the last battle of World War II. The fighting is intense. The casualties are high. And now it's up to you to lead your soldiers to victory using dice to activate and upgrade actions on your rondel as you capture objectives, defeat the enemy, and save the day. So it is a one-player game with a time period of 45 minutes. You can see you lay it out. It's a card game with dice as well. So there's the footprint, basically. The art is pretty cool. I like the art. Then you've got your components. You get 25 action cards, 36 enemy cards, 10 objective cards, and 10 scenario cards. Here are your action dice. Six-sided dice, but they do have a kind of a unique look to them, or a maybe not unique, but different from your traditional dice. Look, you get 7 enemy dice. These look like 10 siders, I guess. Flag tracker for your progress, a command pawn, 61 tokens, and a dice tower, which I think is pretty cool, actually. Like I said, I like this art. So gameplay, you will use dice to move and activate your action cards, right? So there you see kind of animation of how things move around. You defeat the enemies to complete objectives, capture the final objective. Here's your flag tracker. Before time runs out to win the game, you can download the rulebook as well. And as I mentioned, there are 2 versions here. You can get the full printed version for 24 bucks or the print and play version for $5. So that's not bad. We do have some videos here from various people. And some reviews. Shipping costs $5 to the US and to Asia, $6 to Canada, UK, EU, Australia, and New Zealand. You will have to deal with VAT if that is something that happens in your area. Here's the team that worked on it. Gabe Barrett is the designer, and we've got people who worked on graphics, Drew Corkle, and developer Peter Hayward. And this is a solo game of the month, so apparently this is kind of something they do every month. And this is the first one I've come across, probably because of the topic. But anyway, that is our first game, so now let's move on and take a look at the next one. Our previous game was on GameFound, and we'll have one more from GameFound in a little bit. But this one is from Kickstarter, or on Kickstarter. This is from Draco Ideas. Which is a publisher whose games I actually like a lot. And it's 2 GM Tactics, France, and Total War. So these are expansions, but you can buy the base game with it. And the base game is a little bit hard to locate. So this might be a good way to get into it. Back this, get the expansions and the base game, and you'll be all set. So you have one for France, one for Total War. This only has 4 days left. As you can see, they've more than hit their goal. They've got almost 500 backers. So let's take a look at the campaign. As I mentioned, it's from Draco Ideas, and they are, I believe, a Spanish company. So you're going to be fighting World War II, and you've got a board here with cards. So that this again is a kind of a card-based game with some dice. You can see the complexity is kind of mid-range. Luck is relatively low, which is always good. You know, lower luck means more player agency, more decision space, more of your decisions and strategies having an impact. And the strategy level is up high. It's a 1 to 4 player game, so you can play it solitaire or with a group up to 4. 30 minutes time frame, ages 12 and up. The benefits, obviously, you can see these: significant discount, you get the stretch goals, you get the game before stores, and you'll have exclusive material, and you get a campaign book as a gift. So here are the 2 boxes, France and Total War. The series is growing. There are other expansions. I'm not going to try to run through them all because I'll probably not remember all of them. But here's the campaign book that was mentioned. Campaign book with Battle of France and Battle of Germany for free, just for supporting the campaign. This tells you what you get with your French deck. It's French units for the games. You get the Renault R35, the Samua S35, and generals like de Gaulle and Gamelin to lead your troops. Then Total War, expand your armies with new nations. So you've got Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, China, Thailand, Hungary, Romania, and Croatia. In addition, militias and partisans, as well as reinforcement units for the US, Germany, Italy, UK, Soviet Union, Japan, and France. So it is a basic 2-player game, but can be played solitaire 3 and 4 players. You can see kind of the lineup of some of the other expansions here. And here's how the game works. You build your army, you deploy your units, you play in pitched battles or historical scenarios, so you can kind of build things on the fly, or play the built-in stuff. Master the battlefield, destroy your opponents. Here's what's in the box. This is the core game, as you can see, which sells for 49 euros. So you can, looking at the various rewards, you can buy either of the 2 expansions, both expansions. Tactics Deluxe, which is the base game. And then you can buy Tactics Deluxe and the 2 expansions. Here's look at the Total War expansion, the France expansion, and the pledge levels, which are also over here, of course. You have add-ons like custom dice, a dice tray for various nations, which I think is kind of nice, pretty cool. You can buy another dice tower, and stretch goals. Now these are unlocked. The first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are unlocked, 12, 13, 14, are any of these still locked? Here's what the first one that's locked. So you're getting a ton of stretch goals already because they've topped 28. I think, are they over 29 already too? Yeah, so this one's not marked as unlocked, but it is. This one's unlocked at 29, I believe. Where did I see that? I saw somewhere where it said it was, well, anyway. You got some how to play information here as well. How does solo mode work? There's some videos and so on and so on. Here's a little look at some of the games that Draco Ideas has published. So that is our second game. Now let's move on and take a look at another Kickstarter campaign. So here we have The Hunt for Blackbeard. This one is from the esteemed designer Volko Runka, and is a game, as you might guess, about pirates. So this is from Fort Circle, and it is a 2-player game. One plays the hunter, and the other plays the hunted, which would be Blackbeard. So you can either play the British, I believe, chasing Blackbeard down, or Blackbeard himself. And you go through the kind of the history. This is a look at the board, which is the North Carolina coast, I believe. So this takes place in 1718. Tells you the history. Blackbeard and several of his crew were killed by a small force led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard. But how it ends today is up to you. As Blackbeard, you must select your anchorage carefully, as you'll need all your guile to survive. Will you cash in on the diversions, or cash in for the diversions of a pirate's life, or return to acts of piracy as your money runs out? The hunters are coming. Do you evade them or prepare defenses and risk luring them in? As the hunters, how long can you afford to press your stable of informants and arm your expedition? You know Blackbeard, he will not sit idle. His ambitions may expose him, but he's getting stronger day by day. Then you got gameplay, each of up to 4 turns. You'll draw secret tiles that reveal opportunities for Blackbeard. And for the hunters to interview informants who may know of his whereabouts. Then you'll commit action pawns behind screens. So it's very much a, you know, prey and predator kind of situation, and striking while the iron is hot. And, you know, Volko is very, very good at designing games that are both immersive and enjoyable, as well as being steeped in historical, you know, accuracy and just historicity, I guess, to use that word. So this one is a really cool looking entry for me. You know, if you're into any of the games, whether it's, you know, Levy and Campaign or the Coin series or anything like that, those all came from Volko. And so obviously and you've got some nice wooden blocks here. Here you see some dice and some ship markers, wooden ship markers. Fort circles, generally really good with their components. The component quality is awesome. We will begin production in July after the campaign is completed, with an eye toward delivery at the end of 2024. That's always important. How long after you put your money down do you get your game? They always have the little disclaimer about risks and challenges. That's kind of part and parcel with dealing with a Kickstarter campaign, but Fort Circles thus far has been, they've got 6 created. They're pretty good at delivering on their, well, they've always delivered on their projects, I guess I should say. All right, so that will wrap up the look at this one. So again, that is Hunt for Blackbeard from Volko, published by Fort Circle. And here we have Zeppelin Raider from Compass Games. This is one of Gregory M. Smith's creations, so it is a solitaire narrative type game where you fly Zeppelins to scout the North Sea or some other places, and also bomb London mostly, or just England in general. This one has 6 days to go. This is a second edition, so this isn't a new game. This is just an opportunity to get the game now because you know, it's a second edition, so I'm sure it's largely the same as the first. They may have cleaned up some of the rulebook errata, etc., etc., but it's mostly going to be the same as the first edition, I believe. So, as I mentioned, it is a solitaire tactical level game, placing you in command of one of several models of World War I Zeppelin dirigibles as part of the Imperial German Navy. Your mission is to destroy as much English war facilities as possible via bombing raids or conduct reconnaissance over the North Sea, survive and come home. It's based on the popular Hunter's game system by Gregory M. Smith that delivers a tense and nail-biting narrative throughout the course of play. So that's a key point. It's a narrative game. So not, you know, hexed encountered, or hexed encounters, I should say. Sorry, get a little carried away with pumping up my channel. But it's a hex encounter war game. It's not a hex encounter war game, sorry. It's a narrative game. So there's less player agency than there would be in, you know, your more, I guess, let's say traditional war games, you know, where you're moving counters around and so on and so forth. This is more make some decisions, roll some dice, see what happens, maybe make some more decisions, roll some dice, see what happens, kind of thing, right? So it's $55 for the pledge. The retail will be $69. You'll get a counter sheet, a couple maps, rule book, 4 double-sided Zeppelin displays, 8 player aids, 8 commandant cards, a pad of log sheets, and 4 dice. Second edition, here you go, includes upgrades to the physical components, incorporated errata, and updated rules. So there you go. That's the reason, or the benefit of getting the second edition, I guess, as opposed to buying the first edition on the secondary market. So the sequence of play is pretty straightforward. You get a mission assignment by rolling on a chart, which uses the year to kind of determine what types of missions are available to you. You'll check for your takeoff weather. You'll load it up. You'll take off or go up ship, as they say in airship slang. Then you'll travel box by box, adjusting altitude, check for mechanical failures, weather and wind changes, check for encounters with presumably aircraft, I guess, or maybe ground fire, depending on how high you are. I have not played the game, so I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating here, so don't take that as gospel. Roll for encounters as appropriate, currently traveling in a North Sea box or a target box. A random event can occur. If a natural 12 is rolled, that is a core component of Gregory M. Smith games. When you roll a 12 while traveling, let's say, moving from box to box, whether it's one of the naval games or an air game. It's kind of the same. You get an event, a random event. You'll resolve your encounters, and then you'll repeat the steps. Then you'll have to refit by repairing all damage, check for rewards, upgrade to a newer Zeppelin if desired and or possible. Check to see if any other special advances apply to crew members. Check for mission success. And then you would put an S for success and an F for failure, and you get an experience point for every 5th successful mission. You can check out the rulebook. That's always nice. And then you have available add-ons. So if you're a World War I gamer, this is a chance. You back Zeppelin Raider and you can purchase as an add-on any of these other World War I themed games, including Raiders of the Deep, which is not a Gregory M. Smith game, but is based on the Hunters and works the same way and is World War I submarines. And that's a game I really want to play. Haven't done it yet, but definitely want to play. Western Front Ace, also an excellent game. That one is a Gregory M. Smith game. And then there's a bunch of other good games in here as well. Death in the Trenches is a good game as well. Well, I'm not going to... Generally speaking, Imperial Tide, also a Gregory M. Smith game. All of these games are pretty good from what I've heard. I haven't played all of them. I've played some of them. So let's just leave it at that. Anyway, so you can buy these, and they all have, obviously, a cost. So you would choose your pledge level, and then it will open up a menu where you can, at the bottom, where you can kind of pick which other game you may want. So that is the 2nd edition of Zeppelin Raider from Gregory M. Smith and Compass Games. You have 6 days left to back that one. Here is our 2nd GameFound entry. This is Clash D-Day Special Edition. We have 9 days left in the campaign. It's already at almost 31,000 euros with 377 backers. And they've unlocked some stretch goals, I believe. But as always, when these campaigns, typically, I think it's required to have a video. I haven't ever put anything on a crowdfunding site, so I don't know, but I believe they usually almost always have videos, or they're required to have videos, maybe would be a better way to put it. So this is a special edition for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. It costs 59 euros, and it's from Elvin Klappa, and you've got, yeah, as I said, it's a special edition 80-year commemoration. It's a 2-player game for 14 and up. It takes about 45 minutes. Average score of 4.2 out of 5 stars based on 60+ reviews. It's funded in 2 hours. The artwork here, this is cool. I like this part of the campaign. So you've got the cargo plane up here that's dropping presumably paratroopers, right? You scroll down, you've got the German bunker, and then you've got various soldiers in here, and you keep going. We've got supply guys. We've got someone climbing some stairs. This guy's running inside. A couple guys here getting ready. This guy here is carrying maybe an M34. Then we've got probably an officer yelling at somebody on the phone, and another officer with his pistol out. And the whole thing, it just stretches down. It's very cool. I think it's cool. Anyway. Small things make me smile sometimes. So this is a beautiful turn-based board game for 2 players that is set during the longest day in history, D-Day. Take control of the Allies and the Axis forces and get ready to conquer the necessary beachheads. Outwit your enemy to make tactical decisions and think ahead. Prepare, get on board, and take action in the greatest sea-borne invasion that changed history. So this is a very easy to learn, no need for historical knowledge. It's not a heavy war game. So that's a key point for my audience, who some of you, I'm sure, consider yourselves heavy war gamers, and this may be too light for you. On the other hand, some of you might enjoy the occasional more beer and pretzel type game, so this might be something you might be interested in. I'm just putting it out there, and you can make your own call. So here's a look at the box. You've got a big map, 50 by 80 centimeters. You can see it's got some water and some beach and some razor wire and so on. And then you can see what you got. We've got Ike over here for the Americans. You've got various units, tanks, infantry, mortars, spies, artillery, etc. And down here you have the Germans. I'm assuming this is Rommel. Then you've got mortars, again, infantry, artillery, tanks, etc. They have their own spies. You have objective cards, victory cards, some exclusive things only in the game, some half tracks from both sides, so that's kind of cool too. Very high quality product. We only want to deliver the best of the best. Now this one is a sequel to Clash Ardennes. So if you have that or are familiar with that, this is the same game engine. Obviously it's different because it's a different battle, different theater. Well, same theater, I guess, but different battle, different scenario, right? You've got a seaborne invasion as opposed to, you know, a winter battle in a thick forest that you would have in the Ardennes. How to play, the goal of the game, basics, attacking, etc., etc. A review here from James Wilson of Tabletop Gaming Guild, who gave it 5 stars. So you can get it for 59. You can get it with the Ardennes game for 99 euros. Then you have some multi-packs, probably for retailers, I would guess, or people who maybe want to give it as gifts or whatever reason it might be that you might want more than one copy of this particular game. So that, as I said, is Clash D-Day. It has 9 days left if you want to back it. Back to Kickstarter and another game based around June 6th, 1944, the D-Day invasion. This is Order of the Day Normandy. This one has barely beaten its goal, but it has, so it's fully funded. 86 backers, 11 days left for this one. So it's called Order of the Day Normandy. As I said, this is from Jim Dietz of the, I believe, Dietz Foundation. Yes, the Dietz Foundation. Order of the Day, designed by Philip Dubarry, designer of Black Orchestra. If you're familiar with Black Orchestra, you probably get an idea. It's a 2-player game that's meant to take 60 to 90 minutes, playable by children or adults or together. So again, this isn't going to be a heavy war game. This probably is leans a little more towards a Euro game type of game, I would guess. But again, I'm just putting this out there because it's got a military theme. Obviously, as just mentioned previously, we did just pass the 80th anniversary of the Normandy invasion, so the timing is right for something like this. Why another game about June 6th? And it says there are a lot of games covering the big events of World War II, whether that's Midway, Guadalcanal, Stalingrad, Battle of Berlin. But there are a limited number of games that can be played by younger games or children against an adult on relatively even footing. Order of the Day Normandy fits this niche. So that's a key point, I think, and one of the reasons why I wanted to show this. So the Dietz Foundation does kind of educational stuff. And as a wargamer myself, I think it's good to introduce younger players to wargaming. It builds the future of the hobby, for one thing. But one of the things that I've always enjoyed about playing war games, or conflict simulations if you prefer, is that you get to explore history. It's not so much about, you know, oh, I enjoy battles or whatever. It's more about experiencing key moments in history. And that can be, you know, from very recent conflicts going all the way back to, you know, dawn of battle. Which isn't necessarily a plug for that game, but there is a game called Dawn of Battle that is in the very early ancient, it's in the ancient era, let's put it that way. All right, so anyway, what do you get? Components, box, rulebook, game board, mounted if possible, that's a stretch goal. 2-player 8 charts, combat card deck, unit cards, double-sided counter sheet for units from both sides, and wooden cubes that are used to mark combat casualties. There is a how-to-play video. And then it gives you a write-up if you don't want to watch the video on how it works. Here's a look at one of the cards. It's a combat card. You have 3 choices, 3 possible actions there. Allied combat card, when revealed, it's going to cause 1 hit, the explosions, to German infantry regardless of which units you have. So you're automatically going to get 1 hit, but if you have an anti-tank battery, you get 4. If you have a ranger battalion, you would get 3 hits to infantry and 1 to armor. So one of the cool things you could teach a kid that's playing this game is what the NATO symbology stands for. Hey, that's an armored unit, right? So your anti-tank battalion will do 4 damage to this German armored unit, And your Ranger battalion will do 3 to this infantry unit and 1 to the armored unit. You get the picture. What's a unit look like? Here you see that. Art is not final. Okay, German unit card. How to win. The Allies have to seize territory, which is what you would expect. They are on the offensive. The Germans are on the defensive. If the Germans can keep the Allies from getting enough territory, by the end of round 4, they win the game. So the rules are posted on BGG. We've got some reviews. Here are the stretch goals. At 1,000, they'll upgrade the board from paper to mounted. So they did hit that, I am pretty sure. 2,000, you'll get a second scenario, round up the proposed 1943 invasion of France by Allied forces. This won't be as balanced, but it is a cool what if to explore. And at 4,000, you'll get reprints of the Allied unit patches for the units involved in the initial landing. That's really cool. I think that's very cool. Here's a catch. When we do the upgrades, they're an exclusive. They'll be included in all copies of the game. Your support makes that possible to bring the best game to the largest number of people. That's worthy of kudos and applause. And then, of course, you get your standard disclaimer at the bottom. So that's pretty awesome. They are at 4,600, so they've hit all those stretch goals. And they will add additional ones. Basically, you can see Fort Circle backed it. You know, so gamers supporting gamers. That's what this is all about. So anyway, that is Order of the Day Normandy. Next up is Boots on the Ground Deluxe. This again, like Zeppelin Raider, is a re-release, so to speak, a deluxeified edition. In this case, this is from Worthington Publishing. They were looking for $1,000. In funding, they're at 20,000, so they've obviously hit that goal and then some. 264 backers. There are 12 days to go as I am doing this. Boots on the Ground, Intel always changes. So it is a 1 to 3 player game based on modern urban warfare, playable in 30 to 60 minutes. Intel always changes, right? So you've got cards and you've got counters here in this screenshot. What's the project about? The world has changed since World War II. Small battles and civil wars flare up around the world. As one of the dominant superpowers, the United States and its allies have the premier armies and equipment responding to events across the globe. Terrorist organizations and groups wage a new type of warfare of kidnapping, bombings, and destruction. Your team of specialists are ready at a moment's notice to respond, to get to the site as quickly as possible and get boots on the ground. Boots on the Ground puts you in the middle of the action, so you will start as a team leader of an elite group of operators. You'll have a demo expert, a heavy weapons expert, a medic, a scout, a sniper, and you, the leader. This was originally released in 2010 with a paper map, 1 sheet of counters, and cardstock cards. Now in 2024, we are proud to re-release it, totally revamped with a hard-mounted game board, updated box art, updated rules, new mission options, 2 sheets of rounded counters with new counters, and updated poker-style cards with all new art. So basically, they're raising it to the standard of some of their other releases. Worthington's components, in my experience, have always been really nice, and I'm sure this one will be very much the same. The game can be played solo, cooperative, 2-player head-to-head, and 3-player. So you've got various options there. As mentioned, you get a hard-mounted game board, 2 counter sheets, 2 copies of the rulebook, 12 missions that can be played multiple ways, so replayability. 2 dice, 56 Intel cards, and a custom plastic tray, which is another staple of Worthington that is always appreciated by me. So here's a look at some of those updated cards. Poker-style cards, very nice. Play solo or fight with another player like Alpha and Bravo teams while the insurgents move and engage you both with equal resolve thanks to a card automation system. You can also race to see which team can complete the objectives first or play as a traditional 2-sided wargame. So if you wanted to, you could play as the insurgents. You'll get a briefing that'll tell you your objectives and give you some intel. You'll move your force through the urban area facing unknown number of insurgents coming from all angles. As a leader, you'll decide if you stay as a group or send a specialist to eliminate the enemy with their unique skills. So there's your strategy element. How to play, as is typical. As we've seen in the previous looks here, you get to preview the rules. There's your rule book. Here's a Marco. He's got a review of the Boots on the Ground original edition, it looks like. Some Board Game Geek ratings. Here's the single game package, will be $64, MSRP $75, and then you have multiple games. They ship worldwide for $25. USA will pay $12. The designer is Sean Cook. And that is that. So you can see you get $64 for the game here. Estimated delivery, December of 2024. That tells you pretty much what you need to know. So that is Boots on the Ground from Worthington, designed by Sean Cook. 12 days left to pledge and back this one. And finally, we have Imperial Borders, which is a grand post-Napoleonic game for 2 to 6 players by Larry Harris, who is the designer of War Room and Axis and Allies. Now, everybody pretty much knows what Axis and Allies is. War Room is also something that's pretty well known among wargamers. It is a gigantic game that covers World War II. This one is Imperial Borders, Congress of Vienna, which I think is an alternative history look. Now you can see they were looking for a $200,000 pledge goal. They got 271, 239, almost 1,000 backers, and they still have 26 days to go. So this is a big campaign. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. This is a big campaign. And it's drawn a lot of backing already. It is from Nightingale Games, and it is an alternative historical board game that lasts about 4 to 6 hours. The premise is, what if the Congress of Vienna failed to establish peace? If you're unfamiliar, the Congress of Vienna was after the final defeat of Napoleon. So it says, 2 to 6 players control the major nations of Europe during the aftermath of war when Napoleon established a dominating presence of power and wealth through clever diplomacy and strategic warfare. Pledge tiers for $265. This is not a cheap game, but you're going to get a lot with it. It should be familiar. If you know about War Room, this is in the same vein. Just a different time period, essentially. In June and July, so during the campaign, you can get, it's $300, and it would have 50 to 75 shipping and handling, but the shipping is free. So you're basically saving probably close to $100 by backing it, as opposed to waiting for it to hit the stores and then buying it, whether it's online or buying it brick and mortar. Retail pricing, so that just tells you that you get it cheaper, basically. And then you have where you can buy it with War Room, the aforementioned War Room right here. Second edition War Room, ready to ship now. This is an ETA of 2020, July of 2025, so it's about a year out. War Room you could, I guess, get in August, basically, is what that is looking like. This is a picture of War Room. As I mentioned, it is a massive game with the entire world as your playground, so to speak. Here's the man himself, Larry Harris, as he's taking notes with an early prototype version of the Imperial Borders game. So you get a kind of a look at the map as it exists at the moment. Here's a 3D render of the typical game layout. So whereas War Room is round and covers the whole world, this one is Europe. So, and it is square, and you've got kind of a similar setup with the various players arrayed around the table. Here's a look at all the components, what you get for your, $265. It's a lot. And the components will be high quality. You get a nice big box, how the gameplay works, etc., how to win. It's a sum of prestige points. You're building towards prestige points. There are 7 phases. You collect taxes. You plot secret orders. You can see kind of doing that secretly. You plot your movement orders for mobile forces on a dry erase planning map. So everything, there's a lot of hidden information in here. Like, this is a game that probably would shine if you have 6 people. If you have 6 people, this game probably kicks ass, would be my guess. Just saying. Establish turn order on the march. So you're moving your armies and your fleets. Attempt annexations on parade. This is basically, I think, post-combat. You earn a special medal if you have the most points in 5 different categories. Special medal which gives bonuses. First, second, and third place for overall points converts to prestige points which accumulate each game round. Then you can purchase new forces, and you can see some of the pieces you get. I would assume these are French based on the color. Each nation purchases and deploys new forces with gold from its treasury. Here's a draft of the rule book, some preview videos, including one from Gimpy Gamer. I like Gimpy Gamer. He's good. Cody Carlson also good. I don't look at a lot of other channels, but I mean I shouldn't say it that way. There are a lot of war game channels I look at. I don't look at a lot of other tabletop game channels. Let's put it that way. I do look at other war game channels, and I do have my favorites, and I try not to say what those are because I'll inevitably leave somebody off, and then I'll feel bad about it later. There is a lot of good wargaming content out there on YouTube. Just leave it at that. These are two. He does more than just war games. Gimpy's mostly war games. I like Gimpy's stuff. I also like Cody's stuff. Components. Here you have your components, and you can get a neoprene game map, or you do get a neoprene game map. The folios, the metals chart, clip-on metals. These are all really. This is just really cool. I think it costs a lot of money, but it's cool. Prestige chart, the two-sided battle board, and then you have a port battle board, treasuries and cards, nation cards with some cool art, which may not be final, but it looks kind of cool already. 2 common storage trays, 6 nation storage boxes, 51 miniature cannons, 57 miniature cavalry, 51 miniature full infantry, 84 miniature half infantry, 30 miniature frigates, 15 ships of the line, and then the stretch goals. They've already hit the mini battle board, the 20 revolt tokens. Next up will be wooden stance tokens. They're going to hit this. They're going to hit this too for fancier foil metals. They're probably going to hit the wood hotspot annex. The $350,000 could fall as well for the peg board, prestige chart, and then there's stuff about them and their various presence on social media and web outlets. So supporting it, and you got it. You've got it for $265. You get the board game, free shipping, which is pretty cool. And then for $500, you can get it and War Room. So that's actually it's a lot of money, but that's a pretty good deal, I think. But yeah, so that is the last of these that we were going to take a look at for now. I'll do another one hopefully next month, depending on what's out there in the crowdfunding arena. So this was Imperial Borders, designed by Larry Harris and published by Nightingale Games, and it is got 26 days left. And it is a big game and an expensive game, but it seems to me that it's well worth it if you have, you know, a group of people to play with, because like I said, I think as a 6-player game this thing would rock. So anyway, that will do it for now. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. Leave comments if you wish. I will try to respond as best I can. But other than that, we're done. So thanks again. I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.